Inc. Hello, here we are. Ultimate Studios Inc. live broadcast. More 3-note per string stuff today. It'll be pretty cool. And there we go. Okay, so last week I talked about typical 3-note per string stuff. I'll continue this today and quickly recap what I showed last week. Mainly everything that is 3-note per string on 2 strings. Is that the foundation of all these licks. All right, so you can create sequences with that. And you can go ascending. You can add little interval sequences like diatonic thirds. And you can bring all that down to all the strings. Ascending, same thing. And I'll show you that one because that's a very cool one. And everything that basically makes the scales very efficient because we're using 3 notes per string. And it's a very easy technique to get going and have a grasp on fairly quickly. Now, sequencing is a big part when you do 3-note per string because going up and down, let's say C major. I mean, it's cool, but there's only so much you can do of up and down. When you start adding sequences that are not necessarily always matching the subdivision, that's when it becomes rhythmically interesting. So let's say if you're thinking, oh, triplets is a typical thing for 3-note per string because you're doing 3 notes every string. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, that's very typical. Now when you sequence something that is, let's say, in groups of 4, but you use a triplet subdivision, so this sequence, right, which is 4-note per string, not 4-note per string, it's 3-note per string, but it's groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when I play that in triplets, it's very cool. So triplet, 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 triplet. Now when you do it a little quicker, triplet, triplet, triplet. Now when I do it with the rhythm track, so the triplet would be here. Now if you do it double time, which is very fast, it's really shredding. You can do that also descending. So again, it doesn't matter which position you use. There are certain positions that are easier than others. For example, if I take this one, you got 2 positions where you have to bar. So this one is not necessarily one that I use a lot. See, because of that, it's kind of hard to do. So maybe I'll go to another position, down or up, where the fingerings are actually easier. You don't have to bar so much. There's the barring again. So let's see a little bit higher. There's 1 bar there. So it's like, where are the easy ones? Well, you have to keep looking for them. Looks like, you know, we cannot get rid of that barring, but you just find where the... Ah, there we have one, right? That would be perfect. So I don't have to bar here. So this is a very useful sequence. double time it would be very fast. Right? Now, if you want to take this core exercise, right, which is, but just take it, let's say, on 3 strings. That is a sequence that just can be repeated the whole time. Just to get going, right? Usually when you want to practice these things in time, just grab a short portion and then loop it. Because then you know if your fingering is right, if your timing is right, and if your technique is clean. So in this case, I'm just taking C major. And I'm playing it in triplets, but grouping in 4. If you do it in A minor, well, just move it down. Right? These are cool because they can really expand the neck and gives you ideas to change the groupings around, rhythms. It's fairly effective as an improvisation tool. Now let's look at one that I did earlier, which is this guy, but backwards. Now if you do it, it's actually harder because you're going ascending but backwards. Let's do an A here. Now you can do a little change. This is something that I do sometimes. So it's pretty much, but flipped. Now if I go strictly thirds, I have to go, or, and you can move that all over the scale. So I can go, all right, any other position that you like. You know, it's all over the neck. It's pretty cool. Now, if I, let's say, want to combine any of these runs and maybe expand it this way, it's just a matter of shifting to the next position. So I can go. It's really up to you how you connect, but always keep in mind that you're doing groups of 2 or 3 strings, and then you connect to the next position in the 3-note per string world, right? And then at some point you say, oh, okay, this is the backwards one, and then I'm going to flip to the other one. So it's really random, right? Once you get the finger memory going, it's not really that hard. Okay, now let's grab an example where I'm actually doing some string skipping. Now these are cool because once you do string skipping, the range of the scale or the interval is obviously bigger, and I can take things like which originally comes from this part, which is within the scale. The adjacent string is the beat. So since my pinky is going down to the adjacent string, I can skip and go to the G string. And all that can be just moved diatonically up the neck. And you're like, why do I skip? Because otherwise I would have to grab this G. I would have to grab it here. And this is actually harder to do. And I have a double stop ringing, and it's not as clean as when I skip. And I can do legato on this, which is harder to do on this guy. It's not that clean. And you can do partial picking on this. So I'm going down, up, pull off, pull off. Okay? Now, what about doing a bigger interval or sequence? I can use pentatonics. Now, this is where it becomes lots of fun. And I can do, for example, so I'm just grabbing this part, which is E, G, and A, and I'm combining it with the string further down on the G, which is basically pentatonic, but string skipping. While you just learn a 3-note string on its own, which is also a great exercise. So it's just A minor pentatonic or C major pentatonic, same thing. And you can go as low as that, but for this type of sequencing, you just need 2 strings. Now I can choose which low note I want. Obviously, you want a note that is either on your 2nd finger, 3rd finger, or pinky. So here, for example, I'll grab the pinky below. I can grab the A below, which gives you a bigger interval. And you got a cool note, which is the B. So I can go between C, B, and A. And this can be, again, applied to the whole neck. So let's just look at how it changes if I go to another position. Okay, so staying with A minor pentatonic, the next one would be here. I can grab the G if I want. All right, so far we got. I can move down. And then I can move down to the next one, which is the one I showed you first. And I can grab the E also. All right, and then I can go one more down. So I'm grabbing the E, the A, the C, and the D, and then if we're going to go lower, grab the D. Now, obviously, this requires a lot of finger stretching, so you don't want to do these the whole time, but they're very cool to start a solo or really make a big sounding sequence intervallically. That doesn't mean you cannot do it on lower strings. Of course you can. That would be an E minor, but let's stay in A minor. So what do I need to change? So this is obviously exactly the same as this one. Okay. Now, if you want to make this a little longer, yeah, then you just grab a lower string. Now, what about using the sequencing that I was doing on these guys and use that on the skipping stuff? That is another possibility, because I can go. So this is not easy, but it's a cool intervallic idea. So originally the lick was just this. So you ascend and then you go down in thirds. All right, so then I'll just grab my pentatonic position. So now you really have to watch what you're fretting. All right, go to another one, for example. Here, obviously, there is no symmetry between the first finger, so you have got to move over a fret down. And then you got one there. Then what about another one? I can maybe grab this one. So usually the higher the fretting position, the easier it is for the left hand, of course, because doing it down here, you need big hands and long fingers to get some of these going. Pretty wide stretch. So you just find the ones that are a little higher, kind of cool, and you can do that all over the strings. So you're gonna, okay, what about lower? Well, I can grab this one. So this one is pretty involved because I'm going up in a regular sequence in threes, and then I decide to go down in what used to be diatonic thirds. Now it's just the same fingering exercise or basically finger memory that you're just doing with different parts of the scale. Very different sound than just going, because that's more scalar. The other one is more intervallic, more angular, and that is usually cool. This one is easy because I'm having a symmetrical position on the first finger and on the pinky. So I don't have to think that much. But if I, let's say, grab another position, then it becomes a little harder because, for example, the next one down. Oh man, this one is hard. So my finger right here cannot grab the C, so I'll change the flavor and then go to a B. And right there, for example, you can take the sequence we did before, which is up in 4, and you apply that to the pentatonic. Let's do it in A because it's a little easier, right? The other ones are pretty stretchy. So take that concept and go. Now the picking you have to do is way more involved. Or you can go sequencing backwards. And this comes basically from doing this. Now I'm just doing it on same thing down. Right? This is very cool. So let's just see how some of these sound with the backing track. These are very hard, right? Because you're just skipping so much. You gotta really work on fingering accuracy. Right? Now, all this is pretty complicated, right? I mean, I'm not saying, you know, you can do this in a weekend. It's pretty hard. And I would say that's plenty, right? So I'll do another quick jam. And for next week, we'll do modes, right? Modes is actually pretty cool. So we'll do more modal stuff. So until next Wednesday, see ya.